What's up, everybody? This is Green Bean, and today we're starting the show out Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, where we were excited to come and ride for the first time the brand new roller coaster right there, Dark Coaster. Had some problems, and we ended up waiting an hour and a half for them to open it, but we got on. It's a nice little ride, indoor coaster, and it's fun. We're going to get this show started. Welcome to episode 118 of Green Bean's Jets Pod. That's right, we were at Busch Gardens. The plan was to do the whole show from Busch Gardens, but man, oh man, was it raining, dude. It was out of control. Oh, my fucking face. Wow, dude. Oh, man, that one was hurting. The whole thing with being at an amusement park when you plan it is like, it's going to be this great day, sun, and all this of it. It wasn't that at all. So every time I tried to record, the wind would pick up, the rain would blow. So I said, let me just send you guys a couple clips from the fun day at Busch Gardens, and we'll do the rest right here like we always do. So welcome to 118 episodes of Green Bean's Jets Pod, and I am happy to be here. Thank you for stopping by. Here we are in the Jets offseason, and it's good to keep our friendship going, right? We don't want to let it, just drift away into the stratosphere. We want to hang out. We want to keep our connection so we know what's going on with the New York Jets. We can share our opinions back and forth, and whatever news is coming out, he's trying to get us dramatically involved. We can help filter it with each other, make sure we don't drive ourselves nuts. We have some big news this week to discuss, like Aaron Rodgers is a Taylor Swift fan. Who knew? Oh, it's great. Man, he was getting into it too. We saw that this weekend. We also have some Quinn and Williams news to discuss. And we also have some rumors. I mean, look, free agent rumors. Doesn't matter what free agent is cut. The first team you look at is like, Jets. The Jets are going to sign him. That's the way it goes. And we have since become the kind of fan base that every free agent that gets released, we think we should sign him. We should. There's at least a contingent of us, no matter who it is. If they get released, there's at least some of us that start saying, you know what? We need to get that guy. We need to at least kick the tires, right? We need to kick the tires. And we'll talk about some guys that have recently been cut. One in particular in this episode that makes some sense. It makes sense for a few reasons, and we'll talk about that as well. So as I was saying earlier, the intention was to do this show like kind of on location at the first theme park that I went to this year. As you guys know, I'm a theme park enthusiast, roller coaster enthusiast in particular. And yesterday, which was the day before today, that's right, the day before today, I did go to Busch Gardens. And there was an interesting little thing that happened. You see, my daughter took a dare. This one roller coaster called the Griffin. That's it. The whole thing is that when it gets to the first drop, it's 205 feet in the air. It gets you to the first drop. Instead of just dropping you, it dangles you. It hangs you over and dangles you there for a while. You get to go, oh my God, what's going on? Look at that. Look how high I am. Oh my gosh. Well, I don't like to do that in the front row. I'll go on the coaster plenty. I love the coaster. I don't like that front row seat. And my daughter took it there, so I had to go on it. Now, in addition to that, it was raining. Anybody ever been on a roller coaster in the rain? What does it feel like on your face? It feels like somebody just has a sandblaster blowing you in the face. That's what it feels like. So all those things combined, we had a dare. Now, did we accept the dare? Let me show you what happened. All right, here's the moment. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. Julia! Oh! Oh!
fucking face.
So yeah, there it was. That's how it looks up there. Now it was raining, so the camera's a little bit, got raindrops on it and stuff. But that's what we did. You got to do it for the kids. You got to sacrifice, right? I didn't want to do it. If it was up to me, I would have been like, nope. But you got to do what you got to do out there. I'm sorry I couldn't do the whole show from there. I was going to bop around and do each segment by a different roller coaster and do something unique and fun. But it was torrential, so I decided not to do that. But here we are. So let's dive right into episode 118's player profile. Who is number 18 this year? Do you guys know? Who's number 18? It's one of those numbers that we don't always have a player of repute wearing that number, but this year we kind of do. This year, we brought on one of Aaron Rodgers' security blankets, one Randall Cobb. He's going to be wearing number 18 for the New York Jets this season. And that's for good reason, because he wears a number 18. He wore it in Green Bay. He wore it down there for the Texans. So he is number 18. And he comes on over to the New York Jets. And, when we signed him, there was a lot of backlash. I think a lot of Jets fans said, good, solid signing. It's good to have another guy on the team that's familiar with the offense, familiar with the quarterback. It's a security blanket thing. So now we have two wide receivers. You got Allen Lazard, you got Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb and Aaron Rodgers have been very, very effective together over the years. Now, he's toward the end of his career, right? This will be his 12th season in the NFL. It's not like we're intending on him coming in and saving us like we did back in the day with Art Monk. He was like 74 years old. We brought him on and we're like, come on, Art Monk, go ahead and win some games for us. It's not that anymore. We have a nice group of receivers. Randall Cobb is being brought on as a fifth, as a sixth, somebody who's going to catch 30 passes, kind of a thing. And he knows how to get open. He knows what Aaron Rodgers likes. So not only on the field will he have impact, he's going to have it with guys like Garrett Wilson, maybe Denzel Mims, Mecole Hardman, those types of guys who haven't played with Aaron Rodgers yet. He's going to be able to assist with Hackett's offense, and it's a very, very strong positive in my opinion. But we received a lot of backlash from Packers fans in particular, but it spread around the NFL. A lot of people came over and said, the Jets are signing a bunch of scrubs. The New York Packers, they did all that sort of stuff. And just like they laughed at Bill Belichick screwing over the Jets, it's not exactly the truth. It's not really accurate. So Randall Cobb comes over. Who is this guy? Randall Cobb. We know Rodgers calls him Cobby. That's very endearing, right? Cobby. When you call somebody that's last name is Cobb, Cobby, there's a little love there. There's a personal connection, right? So who is this guy? In 2022, let's just use his recent numbers. He's had a prolific-esque career. So last year, he caught 34 passes for 417 yards and a touchdown. He also had 19 first downs and a 12.3 yard average, which is pretty solid. When you're looking at 34 receptions, 12 yards a pop, not too shabby. Didn't get in the end zone much, only the one time. But it's fine. Not somebody that was lighting it up or anything, but 417 yards and 34 receptions. So he's solid. He's just a solid kind of number 3, but for us, he'll be even further down the depth chart, likely. When everybody's covered, you look over, Cobby knows how to get open. He knows exactly where Aaron Rodgers is going to want him, and he's open, and then Rodgers can hit him, and he can get a first down and keep the drive alive. Randall Cobb is essentially our number 5, let's call him. I think he's going to be our 6, but let's say he's our number 5. If you can get similar production out of your number 5 as last year's number 3, and then Lazard and Corey Davis and obviously Garrett Wilson and maybe Mimsy and Mecole Hardman can have better numbers than that, you're in a really, really solid position moving forward into the season. I mean, it's a great backup plan to have. It's a contingency. I think bringing him on again is overall a huge positive for the organization, for the offense, for the young players around the team. And you can start to see it. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to run around and talk to this guy, that guy. He's got Lazard. He's got Cobb. They can stay over there. They can teach these guys. We also know Lazard has been doing great things with the wide receivers, literally sitting aside with them, pointing to different places on the field where you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to get there. All those types of positive impact scenarios that we really didn't have. Who can teach anybody about Mike LaFleur's offense? Mike LaFleur can't even teach you about Mike LaFleur's offense. So this is a major shift, and I think largely a positive, and that's why he's here, and that's our player profile of the week, Randall Cobby. There he is, everybody. So look, we had some Taylor Swift news. We have some Bill Belichick, Joe Douglas draft behind-the-scenes stuff to chop up. Let's get into that in this week's version of the News of the Week. So we go into the Jets news this week. We won't spend too much time on it, but we did learn that Aaron Rodgers is a Taylor Swift fan. What do you think of that? Did you know? It wasn't just for his daughter. His daughter is his excuse to get in that stadium to watch some Taylor Swift. I've done that. I've done that many times. I used to do that with Disney movies and my kids. Like, I don't want to go. We're going to see Moana. Like, that's the way it would go. We're going to go see Frozen. My son's like, I don't want to watch Frozen. You know, it sounds corny to me. No, you're going to love it. I dragged the kid to, because I want to go see it. I can't go without him. You show up at a Disney movie without the kids, everybody looks at you weird. And they should, quite frankly. So I needed my kids. And you do this. So Aaron Rodgers did the same thing with Taylor Swift. And you know this because of the clip that's out there with Aaron Rodgers just digging it, man. A little bit more than maybe you thought he could. And I'm going to say this about it, too. Good for you, Aaron Rodgers. Good for you, man. Feel it. You can see it. He's just feeling it, man. He likes it. He's feeling it. He's allowing it to take over and get in touch with the music. Right on, dude. Good for you. I firmly support that ability. A lot of people were self-conscious. We think people are looking, and he knows people are looking at him. So in order to do that to Taylor Swift, he's got to really shut it all off. So I applaud Aaron Rodgers and his love for Taylor Swift. Can I tell you guys a secret? I love Taylor Swift too. My daughter turned me on. It's a whole thing. So anyway, we didn't go. So I get to vicariously live through Aaron Rodgers. Now, what else happened? We saw Flight 23 last week, and we talked about this a little bit. But it's an interesting thing that all the news that came out about the Bill Belichick trading with the Steelers situation, the Steelers jumped us for Broderick Jones, and hey, why wouldn't we believe that that was the case? We were not happy. We were upset. Our guy got taken. But this is the interesting thing. We'll look at the clip in a second where Joe Douglas literally predicts what's going to happen. We see that Broderick Jones was on their list. They liked him. They would have taken him if he was there and the other guys above him weren't there. But that's the whole thing. He was not number one on their list. He wasn't the guy. Turns out they got their number one guy. Now, it's hard for a lot of us to believe that. There's been talk of maybe editing, you going back in there, kind of reshooting it and stuff like that to make it look like whatever. I guess it's possible, right? Especially in today's day and age. I mean, it's not hard to do that per se. Are they doing that? I mean, then you got to keep the whole room quiet. Everybody around the Jets can't leak that. Gosh, think about if that's what happened. Think about the Jets. They really wanted Broderick Jones, and they got screwed, and they really had no backup plan, like a lot of Jets fans and national media were feeling like was the situation. Let's say that. They were like, oh, my God, we totally thought Broderick Jones or Paris or somebody would be there, and they weren't. What do we do? Let's say that was really the case. And they really had that 15 or that 10-minute period to scramble. And they put a video out that says that they didn't do that. Do you know if that ever leaked out? Could you imagine it's significantly worse than the Patriots sold the pick to the Steelers for chump change and they lost their guy. That's one thing. To make it into this would be a massive story that honestly would probably never go away. It would be the butt fumble. It would be the butt fumble of GM war room clips. Oh my God, we'd never hear the end of it, and it would be embarrassing, and I would hate it. So I'm choosing to believe that it's just the way that it was. Because I got to think about this. We have a regime here that literally found the offensive and defensive rookie of the year last year. And the truth is that Breece Hall was another one that could have won offensive rookie of the year. So we had 3 guys who legitimately could have taken those honors. This is the regime that did that. In addition to that, they brought on Max Mitchell. They brought on Jermaine Johnson. They brought on Michael Clemens. We love all these guys. You have guys that are hitting all over the place, and we're not used to that here. This is a regime that has shown they can find talent in the draft, starters, guys that can contribute. In addition to that, I think the best thing about this is that the Jets just literally let it ride. They didn't come out and defend themselves. They didn't have to say anything. They waited till Flight 23. They showed you what was back there, and they left it at that. They didn't have to say, no, actually, blah, 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 blah. They didn't have to do any of that. That's how professional our organization really is. There is no response. Oh, how do you feel you got jumped? Whatever. Yeah, great. No problem. We're very happy with the player that we selected and all that jazz. And then we find out that not only was Broderick Jones not their top player at the spot, but that they had predicted. Joe Douglas literally said, I bet someone's going to trade up ahead of us for Broderick Jones. Pittsburgh. And it happened that way. That's pretty incredible because you got to think they have contingent. They're not walking in the room hoping they get one guy in the draft. They know every single player's pros, cons, ups, downs, all arounds. They know the deal. And it was really cool to see that. And I was delighted. I thought that episode was better than the first episode, which was fine, of course. But episode 2 was super, super cool to see. That's the stuff I really like to look at, is that behind-the-scenes war room stuff. So what else we have? We have this free agency stuff. Free agents get released, and the Jets are among, if not the first team that everybody looks at. Oh, the Jets! Well, why would they think about this player? Who's the player we're talking about? Well, you got DeAndre Hopkins is probably the biggest cut recently, right? He's a big one. A couple years ago, he was the top receiver in the league. Just last year, he served an 8-game suspension, came back for the final 9 games, and had numbers that the Jets, we wouldn't even have seen in full seasons for years. He has 64 receptions, 717 yards, 3 touchdowns, 35 first downs. That's just in the last 9 games. In addition to that, for the most part, he had Colt McCoy thrown on the ball. We're not talking about with Patrick Mahomes, even Kyler Murray. This isn't Colt McCoy. This is what DeAndre Hopkins was able to do. Think about how many times we've added excuses. Like, so if we had a guy and the quarterback situation was rocky and he only had 30 catches, we go, well, of course, blah, blah, blah. Not DeAndre Hopkins. So the fact that this guy's cut is a big deal. But again, right to the Jets, even though he came out about a month ago and said that he really didn't want to play for the Jets. And he gave his 5 quarterbacks that he wanted to play for. 5. Aaron Rodgers wasn't one of them. And amazingly, Zach wasn't even one. Or Streveler, for that matter. Crazy, right? None of our quarterbacks were on his list. We don't know what that means. If they offer him what he wanted, I'm sure he'd come. I don't think it's all that. When he did say that, Aaron Rodgers wasn't here, so who knows what his feelings are. But do we want this guy? Why is he linked to the Jets? Well, the Jets were in the free agent wide receiver market. We were bringing in OBJ, if you remember. And the Ravens kind of swooped in and took him and gave him more money than anybody thought he was going to get. And now he's a Raven. So the Jets being considered interested makes some sense. Now, DeAndre Hopkins' contract was $19 million this year. Now, he said he's not really looking for that. But the rumor is that he is looking for OBJ level money. So that's a $4 million a year discount. Not too shabby for the team. Still a lot of money. I don't know. Look, the truth is DeAndre Hopkins, before he got traded to the Arizona Cardinals, was, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the league at the time. I know Michael Thomas was still just a major stud in the NFL, and there were obviously others. But DeAndre Hopkins, to me, was just like, he was borderline unstoppable. And he was a guy that I thought is a major asset. I couldn't believe that they traded him for a second-round pick. Ridiculous. But there's a downside with DeAndre Hopkins. Number one, he's getting older. Number two, he's been injured. Number three, he got suspended last year for 8 games. In addition to that, he doesn't like to block. Now, look, when you're talking about a great player of his caliber, do you say, well, he doesn't block, I can't take on that greatness? No, you don't. You overlook the down part of the position of the player, and you say, that's hard to ignore. But another thing is, you have Garrett Wilson, who's our number one wide receiver, and whose career should skyrocket with the likes of Aaron Rodgers. You bring in DeAndre Hopkins, and it starts to, that idea of too many mouths to feed. It really, it ups that. It makes that very, very real. We have a lot of mouths now, yes, but Garrett Wilson is the number one guy. I don't think anybody sees it differently. Do you? Do you really? Anybody? So I think Garrett Wilson has got to be that guy. You bring in DeAndre Hopkins. If Garrett Wilson's number one guy, does it cause a rift? Is there any issues? From what the word on the street is DeAndre Hopkins, while he's not a cancerous player, he's not necessarily the high character guy, and his personality is very strong, so he tends to impact others. So in that, is there a little bit more there than you want to buy into? Doesn't block, getting older, suspended, potential rift, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. Now, that said, I hope it doesn't end up that he's at the Bills. That's the one team I don't want him to go to. I love him down. They said he was down there by the Texans. Yeah, go back to the Texans. That sounds delightful to me. Go back there. They never should have traded you. It's your home. Go back. That's what I want. Texans, go to Texas and get the hell out of here. So anyway, there he is. I don't see DeAndre Hopkins getting signed by the Jets. I just really don't. If he did, would I be happy? Of course I would. He's a stud. But then they got some real delicate things to make sure they tend to. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes if that happens. I don't think it will. I think he's too expensive. And that is the news of the week. So, yes, there was one other piece of news. Why didn't you talk about Quinn and Williams? Well, we heard something about it. That's probably the biggest news of all. Why are you talking DeAndre Hopkins? Well, I'm going to talk about Quinn and Williams, but I'm saving it for the intelligent gripe. So, we've heard all sorts of reports. We've seen all sorts of social media posturing. And then we heard our head coach asked the question in a press conference, and he basically said, point blank, I'm not even concerned. There is no doubt in my mind that Quinn and Williams is going to be here. He's a major member of the team. Everybody loves him. We know his value. I'm not even worried about it. Let's just move forward because it's a non-issue. It's voluntary, and we're fine. But Jets fans, a lot of us, just like with Aaron Rodgers, right? We believed it's more than likely going to happen. But can it just happen already? I'm tired of waiting out here. Can we just get it done? Everybody else gets it done. Why can't we get it done? We just want it to be done. So we know there's always just a little bit more dramatic flair, potential stress with the Jets. And that's the whole problem. We heard last week that the Jets are far apart with Quinn and Williams. Oh, my God. And then all the trade landing spot articles came out. Holy macaroni. Out of nowhere. Now, we're hearing the exact opposite. Brian Costello from The Post comes out and says, hey, I heard that the Jets and Quinn and Williams really aren't that far apart. They're actually pretty close. And the idea is that they can get a deal done in the next couple of weeks. Now, my first thought is, really close? Couple of weeks? Like, if I'm really close, I'm thinking by the end of the day, dude. What are we talking about? Sit your ass in the seat, get your pen and paper, and let's start writing stuff down. I'm dating myself. Get your tablets, do the thing, whatever the hell you use, and let's iron this out right now so you can go home, be with your wife and your kid and the whole thing, and it will all be happy, buzzy, positive vibes, and we can do that. Nope, it's going to take a couple of weeks maybe. The real thing is that it just needs to happen. Really, it has to happen before training camp, right? But it would be real nice if it happened before mandatory, which is June 13th. So we have a couple of weeks here to get this done so he doesn't have to deal with, do the Jets fine him, right? Do we want to deal with any of that sort of stuff? Now, in my opinion, I think it would be good faith if the Jets just said, hey, we're not going to levy any fines. We're very, very close. It just needs a little bit more tweaking, so don't worry about it. If they start fining them, it could be this whole thing. Now, I don't know if the NFL is going to make them fine them or anything. I'd have to look into that. Off the top of my head, I don't. As I sit here and think about it right before your eyes, I don't know off the top of my head. But it would be a good faith gesture if they just said, hey, we're not going to fine you for not being here. Let's just get this done, man. Let's just move forward. We know we want you. You know we want you. You want to be here. Everybody loves you. Let's not taint it with any of this baloney, and we'll do that. That'd be nice to see. But we really want to get him in here for training camp. We don't want to see 2-3 weeks in and then he's rushing to get back and he pulls a hammy. Like, we don't want any of that stuff. You want to alleviate any potential for that sort of thing. So what are we waiting for? Well, the market is kind of established, right? We know this. Obviously, there's Aaron Donald. He's way up here making 31 and change. Nobody's going to give anybody that, nor should they, because nobody's Aaron Donald. Not even Quinn, who I think just might be able to carve out a career that comes close if he continues on this trajectory that he's on. But he's not Aaron Donald yet, And we know that. Everybody knows that. I think Quinn even knows that. Maybe he doesn't. But there's been a bunch of signings this offseason at Quinn's positions, which kind of set the market. So let's take a look. The next highest paid defensive tackles in the league happen to be that group, of course, because it's this year. Next year, they'll all be beat by the next guys, and that's how it goes. But right now, we got Jeffrey Simmons down there for the Titans, and they gave him an average of $23.5 million per season, $94 million contract. So that's a pretty good one. He's next after Aaron Donald. Then you got Darren Payne for the Washington Commanders, 22.5, so $1 million less. He signed a $90 million contract. So you see this, it's right in the same pocket, 23.5, 22.5, same basic parameters. So the next guy for our crosstown rivals is Dexter Lawrence, signed a $22.5 million contract with the Giants. He also got a 4-year, $90 million contract this year. And then you also have Hargrave. Javon Hargrave signed a $21 million extension with the Niners. So you see it. Now, Quinn, while he's played less percentage, less snaps than some of these guys, has actually had more impact in many categories. So Quinn and Williams is, I have to say, probably the top guy out of this group. So I think it makes sense that we should expect that he's going to come in at a higher number. Now, 23.5 with Jeffrey Simmons is the highest number. So where is Quinn? You got Aaron Donald, 31. You got Jeffrey Simmons at 23. So how far, where is he? Is he 24, 500,000 more? Does that get it done? Does he need 25? Or does he want to creep closer to the Aaron Donald area and get 27, 28? Is that what we're talking about? I think this is where the rubber's going to meet the road. If I had to predict, I'm going to tell you right now, 4 years, 25 per, most of it guaranteed, 70 million guaranteed, 75 guaranteed, that kind of a thing. Nice and clean. Hundo, make it look real nice. They're 90 million, 94 million, 100 million, boom, with higher guarantees. Like, for example, Jeffrey Simmons has $47.8 million guaranteed. So if the Jets come in at like a 70, dude, you're blowing them out of the water. Even if the contract is just a tick higher numerically as far as per year, the guarantees are what's really the most important thing. You can guarantee Quinn somewhere $70 million. It's going to get it done. So my whole thing is this. I have zero concern about if Quinn and Williams is going to be a Jet. I have zero interest in consuming things about his potential landing spots in a trade or what potential compensation you're going to get. You don't give away an all-star player in his prime for draft picks. In my opinion, you don't do it. Unless he's a POS like Jamal Adams or something like that. And Jamal Adams and Quinn and Williams are a completely different impact on the team. So you just don't do it. Quinn and Williams, he'll be a Jet. We have to stop worrying about it. Let our general manager do what he does, man. He's changed everything, albeit imperfectly, but nothing's perfect. No one's perfect. He's doing a great job. Let the man work. Let Quinnen go for his. It's going to happen, and that's the intelligent gripe. So yeah, man, it's going to be crazy this season, isn't it? We are working, Ryan, Matt O'Leary, and myself with the Talking Jets panel channel. We're going to have the most amazing packages prepared for you guys with our 2023 game get-together live in person at MetLife. We're going to have such a great time. We have great partners that we're working with. Amazing stuff is in the works. We can't wait to tell you. But with that all said, you got to hang out with us on a new channel on Tuesday nights. We moved the Talking Jets panel from Jets Talk 24/7 over to Talking Jets on YouTube. If you haven't checked us out yet, please do. You're going to love it. It's the same show. It's the same awesome sausages that you consume every other Tuesday. We're now on the Talking Jets channel, and we would love to have you come on over. Guys, that is our show. I want to thank you for being here. It's been a blast talking to myself in my office for the past hour. It's really what's happening here. It's a crazy thing, isn't it? I feel very much like I'm talking to you, but I'm not. I'm just alone. I'm just alone in a room talking. I don't care. I love it. I have a good time. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to leave me some comments so we can have a chat. I try to get to as many as I can. You see, I'm always in there. I thank you for being here. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. And as always, go Jets.